Why elite dark chosen ones must endure both angelic and demonic tests. There's a reason why the most powerful, spiritually dangerous and cosmically significant individuals on this earth don't have smooth lives. There's a reason why, if you are one of them, an elite dark chosen one, you've never quite known peace the way others did. You weren't born to rest. You weren't sent here to blend in. You weren't designed to coast through life. You were summoned here to transform it. But to wield that kind of power, to carry that level of divine coding, you must be forged. Not once, not twice, but continuously through angelic tests and demonic trials. And if you think this is just metaphor, you haven't gone deep enough yet. Let me tell you something I've learned through pain, silence, and the kind of encounters that bend reality. The universe doesn't test you to punish you. It tests you to reveal you. Because power without purity becomes poison, and if you're destined to be a weapon of light wrapped in shadow, or shadow wrapped in light, you must be purified like a blade in the fire. Not just to be sharp, but to be precise. Chosen ones walk through the fire not because they're cursed, but because they're called. And that calling is not confirmed through comfort, it is confirmed through confrontation. With both angelic forces and demonic energies inside and out.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The angelic tests are subtle. They test your alignment. They test your ability to stay in truth when lies are easy, to stay in grace when rage is justified. They come in the form of opportunity, something that looks like a blessing but smells just a little off, something that flatters your ego while draining your spirit. These are the golden cages, the invitations to rise too fast, too soon, without the roots to hold the weight. The angelic test asks, can you have power and still remain pure? Can you be elevated without becoming inflated? Can you hold your essence under pressure without selling it for applause, safety, or influence? These tests are not loud. They come in the form of soft choices, quiet crossroads, the silence after the offer, the feeling in your gut when something seems too good to be true. And the truth is, if you fail these tests, no lightning will strike, no demons will drag you down, you'll still get the opportunity, you'll still get the fame, the followers, the money. But you'll notice something subtle. Your connection to source flicker. Your dreams become harder to decode. Your rituals feel empty. Your body feels heavy. That's when you know you passed the world's test but failed your soul's. And then come the demonic tests. These aren't subtle. They are brutal. They are loud. They come for your mind, your body, your sanity. They show up as betrayal, abandonment, loss, humiliation. They strip you of everything you thought made you strong so they can reveal what actually makes you sovereign. These are the nights you scream into pillows, the days you question if God ever knew your name. These are the attacks that seem to come from nowhere. Sudden illness, sudden chaos, sudden collapse. But here's the secret that changes everything. The demonic test doesn't come to steal your power. It comes to reveal it. It comes to show you the part of you that still believes in fear, that still negotiates with shadows, that still doubts your invincibility. And if you can face it, not fight it, not run from it, but face it, you unlock something ancient. You remember that demons don't feed on your power, they feed on your doubt. The moment you stop doubting your essence, they'd lose all leverage. But let's be real. This isn't a fairy tale. It's not easy, it's not always beautiful. The dark chosen ones are given both angelic and demonic tests because we are meant to embody totality. We're not here to be perfect, we're here to be whole. That means integrating the divine and the demonic, learning how to walk through fire while carrying water, standing in storms while holding stillness. We are the balance point, and the universe will keep testing your ability to hold that balance until you stop swinging like a pendulum and start vibrating like a tuning fork. You have to understand the mechanics of this. Every time you pass one of these tests, your field expands, your aura gets sharper, your words carry more weight, your intuition becomes more precise. But so does the pressure, because now you're a signal, and signals attract attention from both sides. The brighter your light, the darker the shadow that tries to reach you. But that's not a flaw in the system, that is the system. Because your purpose isn't just to survive these tests, it's to transmute them. You don't just pass trials, you alchemize them into wisdom, into clarity, into frequency. You become a living technology of transformation. So I must ask you, how have you been responding to your tests? Have you been collapsing into victimhood or rising into sovereignty? Have you been begging the universe to stop or asking the deeper question, what is this test trying to unlock in me? Because the moment you shift from reaction to inquiry, from fear to curiosity, the test changes. It becomes a teaching. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what part of me is being activated by this? That's when you move from student to master, from pawn to player. And let's not forget, some of the most intense tests are disguised as relationships. People who trigger your deepest abandonment wounds, lovers who mirror your unhealed scars, friends who betray you right after you open your heart. These are not accidents. These are soul contracts, initiations. They are not here to destroy you. They are here to refine you and show you where you are still bleeding, where you are still closing, where you are still clinging to versions of yourself that no longer serve you. So now the question becomes, are you ready to stop asking for easier tests and start becoming the kind of being who can pass any test? Because that's what it means to be elite. Not that you avoid difficulty, but that you welcome it. Not that you don't fall, but that you rise faster than ever before. The game is real, the fire is hot, the demons are watching, the angels are waiting, but the power is in you, the weapon of purity. Why your clean energy field is more dangerous than any spell. There is a hidden truth most spiritual seekers never fully grasp, and even fewer embody. Purity is the ultimate weapon, not the kind of purity that religious systems try to enforce through shame or control, not the fake righteousness of trying to look high vibrational while secretly suppressing your shadow. No, I'm talking about the purity that comes from alignment, the kind that vibrates so clearly, so cleanly, that it becomes unbearable to anything false. That's when your energy field stops being just a presence and becomes a force. Not because you're trying to protect yourself, but because your frequency is so clean that distortion literally can't exist within your orbit. And when you reach that level, you don't need to fight demons, they flee. You don't need to cast spells, you are the spell. You don't need to chant 1,000 affirmations, your existence becomes the affirmation. But here's the part that's hard to swallow. This kind of purity can only be forged through the fire of both angelic and demonic tests. You don't get it from reading books. You don't get it from workshops. You get it from being dismantled over and over again until there's nothing left to fake, until your only option is to be real. What you'll find is that most people don't want to be real. They want to be impressive. They want to be seen as enlightened, powerful, awakened. But the elite, dark, chosen ones don't chase appearances. We chase truth. And truth is always purifying. It burns away illusions like acid. It strips you back to your essence. And that essence, when uncloaked from performance, is the most dangerous thing you can ever offer this world. When your energy field is clean, you stop leaking, you stop absorbing, you stop reacting. You step into the rarest state of all, energetic sovereignty. This is when you can walk into places dripping with density. Boardrooms, battlegrounds, broken homes, and remain untouched. Why? Because you're not carrying projections, you're not carrying other people's expectations. You're clean, not perfect. Present, and that presence is what makes your field lethal to distortion. It's why people either love you or fear you. It's why some are magnetized to you instantly, while others try to tear you down without knowing why. Your field is doing something their subconscious can't ignore. This is also why the tests never stop, because the cleaner your field becomes, the more responsibility you carry, the more your presence impacts the collective grid. You become a broadcaster, a tuning fork for thousands, sometimes millions of others. And if your signal gets even slightly distorted by ego, by fear, by unacknowledged pain, it reverberates through everyone connected to you. That's why your purification process is so violent at times. It's not because you're cursed, it's because you're consequential. The universe doesn't refine gold no one's going to use, it refines the ones who are meant to lead. So ask yourself this: where am I still carrying frequencies that no longer belong in my field? Is it the frequency of scarcity inherited from generations of trauma? The frequency of proving from a childhood where you were never enough? The frequency of performance from years of spiritual comparison? Whatever it is, you must now choose. Will I carry it into my next initiation, or will I burn it now and ascend lighter? Because the truth is, every demonic test is a collector. It comes to see what you'll give away: your peace, your center, your clarity, your time. And every angelic test is an invitation. It offers you a chance to choose presence over performance, purpose over popularity, essence over image. And when you choose right, you don't just pass the test, you upgrade your field. You become more magnetic, more precise, more dangerous to the systems that rely on confusion and fear. Let me tell you something very few people understand. The universe is not looking for more powerful people. It's looking for more clear people. People who can anchor frequencies others are too afraid to touch. People who can sit in silence and hear the scream beneath the collective noise. People who can walk through fire and not carry the smell of smoke. That's you, that's us. That's what it means to be elite. But here's the twist. Purity doesn't make life easier. It makes you more sensitive. You'll feel everything more deeply. You'll see through people faster. You'll detect falsehood in spiritual spaces that others worship. And that can be isolating. But that isolation is not punishment. It's preparation. It gives you space to recalibrate, to refine, to remember what you're here for. Because when the moment comes, when the world is in chaos and people are searching for something real, they won't look for the loudest, they'll look for the clearest, the ones whose energy doesn't flinch, the ones who've already died and come back cleaner. So I'll ask you now with sacred seriousness, are you willing to be that clear? Are you willing to let go of everything that clouds your field, even if it costs you comfort, community, or identity? Because that's the price of purity. But the reward? The reward is becoming untouchable. Not because you hide from darkness, but because you've integrated it. Not because you're always in light, but because you know who you are in the dark. You don't become a weapon by accident. You become a weapon by remembering you were never anything else. And your purity is the sharpest edge of all. The final trial, why true power is measured by what you refuse to become. As you rise, through layers of fire, shadow, grace, and unbearable clarity, there comes a moment that every elite dark chosen one must face. It doesn't come with thunder. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It arrives in stillness. It appears disguised as silence, as boredom, as a plateau. It comes when you think you've already made it, when you've survived the darkness, embodied the light, and built something sacred. This moment is the final trial, and unlike all the others, it doesn't test what you can do. It tests what you will not do, what you will not become, what you will not sell, chase, or sacrifice. This is the most dangerous test of all. Success. Not just external success, but spiritual success, influence, recognition, mastery. Because the deeper trap isn't failure, it's comfort. And the test is this: now that you have access to power, will you use it to amplify your essence or to escape your emptiness? Will you remain in devotion to your mission, or will you start performing for the very systems you were born to dismantle? Power is never neutral. It's either purifying you or corrupting you, and the most elite among us know this. We feel it. We feel the pull to become more palatable, more marketable, more digestible to the masses. We feel the temptation to round our edges, to package our truth, to conform just enough to be accepted, without appearing like we've compromised. But the soul knows, the field knows, the frequency knows. There is no hiding in energy. And even if the world keeps praising you, your spirit will begin to decay the moment you make a choice that violates your core. You see, the final trial doesn't ask, can you survive suffering? It asks something harder. Can you survive your own success without betraying your soul? Most can't. They ascend until their ego finds a throne, and then they sit on it, feeding off the very matrix that once imprisoned them. But you, if you're truly elite, you didn't come here to sit on thrones built by systems of illusion. You came to dismantle them. And to do that, you must remain wild, untamed, unowned. That means refusing to become a brand, refusing to become a caricature of your own awakening, refusing to let the algorithm shape your essence. You must remember, every time you're offered more visibility, more followers, more money, more reach, there's a hidden question behind it all. What part of yourself are you willing to dilute to receive this? And if the answer is none, then yes. You may lose opportunities. You may become harder to place, harder to categorize, harder to sell. but you will become impossible to ignore, because real power, unfiltered, unbranded, undiluted, shakes reality. Shakes reality doesn't trend, it transforms. The final trial is about refusal. The holy no, the sacred boundaries, the choice to walk away from the table when your soul isn't being fed. The courage to burn what you built if it starts to own you. And that's not dramatics, that's devotion. Because true power is not measured by how much you can hold, it's measured by how much you can release, how much identity you can shed, how many masks you can burn. How much applause you can silence for the sake of hearing your own soul speak. So let me ask you the question that marks this trial. What version of yourself are you still holding on to because it gives you safety but costs you sovereignty? Is it the healer who always has the answers? The mystic who's always calm? The leader who can't show weakness? These are not just roles, they are prisons. And if you're not willing to walk away from the versions of yourself that are no longer true, you will crystallize into them. You'll stop evolving. And that, for a chosen one, is the ultimate death. This is the moment where you must choose depth over dominance, silence over spectacle, essence over ego. And that choice will not be easy. It will cost you. You may lose followers, you may lose money. You may lose people who only loved your previous version. But what you gain is beyond language. You gain clarity. You gain freedom. You gain the ability to move in total alignment with your mission, to speak only what's true, to create only what's real, and to serve from a place of clean, raw, untouchable power. And here's the paradox. The moment you pass this trial, when you finally refuse to become anything other than your essence, the universe opens. The very gates that were locked begin to swing wide. You become so resonant, so clear, that reality reorganizes around your presence. The right people find you, the right opportunities flow, and not because you chased, because you became. You became the signal, the source, the storm, the sanctuary. So I ask again, and this time with more fire, what are you still becoming that you were never meant to be? And what will it take for you to finally refuse? Because true power is not in becoming everything, it's in becoming only what you truly are. The age of embodiment. Why becoming the living frequency is the final revolution. There's a moment in the path of every elite dark chosen one where words are no longer enough, where teachings fall short, where even the deepest truths begin to sound like echoes. That moment is not the end, it is the arrival. The arrival into the age of embodiment, the final revolution, the space where you stop talking about the frequency and you become it, where your life becomes your sermon, where your presence says what your voice no longer needs to, where your breath becomes a transmission and your silence becomes a code. This is the destination all the tests were preparing you for. Not a pedestal, not a brand, not a title, but a state of being. A vibrational existence that no longer negotiates with illusion, no longer reacts to distortion, and no longer seeks to convince anyone of anything. Embodiment is not about performing your power, it's about resting in it. It's not about looking spiritual, it's about living from a place so clean, so real, so deeply attuned, that even your smallest actions carry the weight of transformation. You walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts, not because of what you say, but because of what you are. You become the proof that it's possible to be both shadow and light, both divine and human, both wild and wise, without contradiction. You become the embodiment of paradox, and in that you become free. But embodiment is not glamorous. It is not always visible. It often looks like disappearing, like saying no to the stage, like turning down the applause, like spending more time in the forest than in the feed. Because to embody your true frequency, you must be undistracted. You must be deeply in tune with your own signal, not the noise of the world. You must value your vibration more than your visibility. You must choose alignment over attention again and again, until your entire life becomes a resonance chamber for truth. And here's what they don't tell you. Embodiment is lonely at first, because very few are living from their core. Most are still performing, still projecting, still addicted to being seen. So, when you stop chasing recognition, when you stop needing validation, when you no longer bend your essence to be understood, you will feel the space clear. People will fall away. Opportunities will vanish, but this is not loss. It is refinement. It is the universe making room for what matches the real you. And when it arrives, it won't drain you, it won't confuse you, it will recognize you. To embody your frequency is to become a living portal, a walking activation. You no longer teach from theory, you teach from transmission. Your life becomes the teaching, your presence becomes the medicine, your boundaries become the curriculum. You don't need to explain, you exist, and that existence becomes prophecy. People feel safer around you without knowing why. Some feel exposed and run. Others feel seen and rise. That's the power of embodiment. It holds a mirror to everything, and only those ready to meet themselves will stay. But the deepest truth is this: embodiment is the revolution, not activism, not rhetoric, not spiritual theater, embodiment. Because when enough of us live from our essence, fully, unapologetically, without distortion, we shift the grid, we interrupt the matrix, we broadcast purity into systems built on performance. And that ripple, that resonance, it doesn't need to go viral. It doesn't need 1 million views. It just needs to be, because frequency doesn't obey algorithms. It obeys alignment. And alignment is the most disruptive force in existence. So I ask you one last time, are you willing to become the frequency you've been seeking? Not just speak it, not just post about it, but live it in your choices, in your silence, in your relationships, in your daily breath. Because that is the final revolution. That is the most elite state of all. When nothing about you is borrowed, performed, or sold. When your life becomes so real, so true, so holy in its rawness, that everything false simply dissolves in your presence. You were never meant to be a teacher. You were meant to be a frequency. You were never meant to follow a path. You were meant to become the path. You were never meant to chase power. You were meant to embody it. This is the age of embodiment, the age of no more pretending, the age of living so honestly that existence itself bows in recognition. So walk is the frequency now. The world is already listening.